which the Gula can come about when it's supernatural, when it's natural, that it can come out in natural fashion. He feels that this is the natural process, means all the problems and foibles that exist, including, destruction of Europe. And he's giving a couple of examples about this. And we can bring back the Gula, provided that we have it will relate to exactly what we're doing. So we're up to 94. Mumela. Okay. And the last thing we did was the discussion about. Careful! Oh, that was close. Okay. The things that go through a slow process, and Mashiach can come on the clouds, and Mashiach can come in the donkey. Coming in the clouds is a much quicker process. Coming in the donkey is a slow process. Coming on the clouds is a much more miraculous process. Coming on the donkey is much more of a schlepping process, and that's if we didn't manifest and do the top way, we can do the lower way, and that's what we're actually living through. And he gives an example of the last thing he did was a piece from the Sefer called the Shari Tzedek. We talked about planting a tree and the fact that for the tree to grow, it undergoes certain different changes, and so therefore and it's all by nature. Eventually the tree will put forth fruit or put forth blossoms, but it can be a long time until it actually happens. It doesn't happen simply all together in one time. On the other hand, the Matei Aaron, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted the Matei Aaron to sprout and show shkedim and show almonds and blossoms, he was able to do it overnight. So that's the same thing about bringing Mashiach. Mashiach can come very quickly, and Mashiach can come very slowly. But eventually,
staff, huh?
Sorry?
Aaron's staff,
correct.
Yeah.
But it can't. That's an example of where the staff can actually produce fruit overnight, or produce shkedim, produce almonds overnight, blossoms and almonds. On the other hand, the natural process, if you plant a tree, you got to work the tree, you got to hoe the tree, you've got to weed the tree, you got to water the tree. It doesn't happen all at once. Even with all that, it's still a very long kind of process.
Mm-hmm. And what's the connection between Mashiach coming slowly or fast and Mashiach coming bezmano or
yes,
because we bring it.
It says B'ita achishenu. If it comes in its time, I will hasten it. In its time, achishenu. This is in the Nevuos of Bilam. B'ita achishenu.
To come in its time.
So the pasuk says B'ita, right? And B'ita in its time, achishenu. I will cause it to hasten. So is it one or the other? If you come in a time, like I say, we're going to finish at 12 o'clock. If I say, well, but on the other hand, if we do it well, we can finish at 11:45. So what is it, 12 or 11:45? So the answer is the same thing. So when they're saying if you do nothing, then Mashiach will come at 12. If you do it quickly, if you kind of are great students or great tzaddikim, you can bring it at Mashiach at 11:45.
So when is it coming slowly and when is it coming fast?
Well, he couldn't. Right. You want the year.
No, the modality in which is coming.
The modality is a symbol of the modality is both a symbol of how fast it comes or slow, or how it comes miraculously or how it comes not miraculously.
So which is which?
The heavens is fast and the heavens is miraculous. So if it comes quick, it comes fast, it comes miraculous, it comes supernal. If on the other hand, if it's slow, if it's natural, it comes naturally, it comes slow.
So the opposite.
No, the donkey.
If we all do one Shabbos, right, or two Shabbos.
Yeah, then we can bring it fast.
Then it should be fast.
That's correct.
So if we bring it before this month, the time that's appointed.
Well, then if we do everything together, then we can bring it fast. That's exactly the point. If we do everybody does a Shabbos and so on and so on, then the Mashiach will come very quickly.
But he'll come anyways.
But if not, if we're a bunch of schleppers and we don't keep Shabbos and we don't do the mitzvahs and we're worshiping idols and we're secular and yada yada, then the Mashiach will eventually come. He's just going to come slowly.
So it'll be gradual.
Be gradual, be natural and gradual. The idea of being in a cloud, no one comes on a cloud naturally. And coming on a donkey is a natural process. Okay. Coming on a clouds just fly through. That's quick, and the donkey is a slow process. The slow and natural go together and are opposing or the opposite of being fast and supernatural. Okay, so yes, we could bring it, but the answer is in his day we're not seeing people bringing it. But the bottom line is we can actually bring Mashiach to come even just by doing what we're doing. So that was the last thing we did. Umemela, this is the middle of 194, middle of 94, the last paragraph, and 135 in the middle of the page.
Just one more.
Yeah.
But the intention is that he will come. There's not a
Correct.
point where he won't come.
Correct.
He'll come fast or he'll come slowly, but he will come.
Correct. Now, he will eventually come to talk about the fact that, we're not going to get to it today, the fact that we're in the second half of the 6th millennia, and therefore, it's already time Mashiach should come. So if Mashiach is slow and dilly-dallying, he'll come towards the end of the 6th millennia.
Yeah.
But we're already in that point. So remember, in his day, he writes this in 5704, 1940, or 5703, 5704, 1942, 43. So that's already the 57th, that's into the 6th millennia, into the 7th, what do you call it, not decade, 7th century of the 7th millennia. So that's already the second half. So he feels, even if in past generations and past years and past centuries, they talked about Mashiach far away, this is already the final time when Mashiach may be on the road to come. Right? Okay. Well, look, I'm fine. Okay. Okay. Umemela says, he writes, Umemela pizet tovina. Based upon this, we'll understand what Chazal say in the Medrash Shochar Tov, in the Medrash, which is the Medrash Shochar Tov, which is on Shmuel. It says, Ksuva echad omer magdil, Ksuva v'kasuv echad omer migdal. There are two very similar psukim. One is migdal Yeshuos and one is magdil Yeshuos. That's the change. Correct. The benching. But it's really, they're two very similar psukim. One is in Tehillim and one is in Shmuel. So we each make the change on Shabbos and not Shabbos, which, by the way, may not necessarily be really true. It may have been related to which place was a reference to one or the other. I forget how the abbreviation would have looked like. So Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Lefi she'ein hagula shul mazu ba b'vat achad el kima. The reason for the difference is between Migdal, which is a tower, and Magdil, which is great from Gadol, is because the Gula itself doesn't happen so quickly, but little by little, Kima. That's Migdal. Magdil, Shimit Gadelet Volchim Lefi Yisrael. Magdil, which means it's going to be Gadol, quick grows, is going to grow progressively. So, and therefore, if Ki Lefi Shehen Achshav Shuyim, there are in a lot of tzaros. If suddenly we'd have a great saving that would happen now, then we could not tolerate it. To go from such opposites, from great hardships, into a tremendous gula would be impossible. So the Medrash says the reason that the gula is coming slowly is because this kind of rapid change would be impossible for us to adapt to. So he comes and grows progressively. And that's why Isaiah compares the redemption to the dawn. That your light will come forth like the shachar, like the dawn. There's no greater darkness except the hour that's right before dawn. According to the Gemara, and it says in Medrash in many places, that right before it gets light is the darkest time of the night. I'm not sure how that's true.
Having done a lot of nighttime driving,
I'm not quite sure.
I find that hard to believe.
I don't understand. I'm not sure what it means. I guess it would actually depend on when the moon rises, the moon sets, which would depend on which part of the month you're there. The first part of the month, it's earlier and later. But this is something that, I guess, if you're out at night, the longer you're out at night, the more you really understand how dark it is. That may be the only way I can make sense of this. So at any rate, it's pretty dark before it begins to get bright. The other thing I would say, here, I'll give you another interpretation. I've thought about this at times. As it begins to get slightly bright, the stars disappear. So before it's dawn, it's dark without the stars. Because it's brightened enough that the stars begin to fade. So while it may be brighter than the night, it appears to be darker because you don't have whatever kind of faint illumination in the sky from the stars. Okay? So you try that on for size. But at any rate, it's clear that the change from dark night to day is actually a gradual process. If suddenly the sun were to jump up and rise, everything, all the briot would be trapped. I'm not sure what that means, trapped. It means we'd be immobilized probably. We'd be unable to move. I thought when I read it might mean also the animals that come out at night would suddenly be trapped. You ever ever get out early in the morning and you see the raccoons are out and the skunks are out and the opossums are out still, and they're all trying to get back before it gets light. So this is those animals would suddenly be caught where they were, and people would actually be trapped in it because they couldn't move. But first you have the morning star which rises. It begins, you got dawn, which begins to make it a little bright slowly. And then the sun comes up over the horizon and begins to make the world light, and no animal and no creature becomes entrapped. So here it goes back, briot, looks like it's talking about animals, not people. So maybe the animals have time to get back to their lair, because most animals actually come out at night.
Yeah.
Right?
You notice at night when you focus the lights on them,
yeah,
they freeze.
Because they're out.
And that's why they get run over all the time.
That's right. So most animals are out at night because that's when they can't be seen by their predators. Shnema v'orach tzadikim k'or noga holech v'or ad nachon hayom, that the path of the righteous like the gleam of the sunlight, and it gets brighter until nachon hayom, the center, the right part of the day, which is the right middle of the day. So this is what the Medrash is saying. So this Medrash is talking about the redemption which will happen in a natural way. It'll happen slowly. So there's a positive reason why it's happening slowly, not just that we're not worthy, but Hashem is trying to ease us into the Gula process. The way the sun comes and goes over the natural way. If it happens all at once, if it happens by miracle, it would happen immediately, very quickly. And because all the difficulties came because of our sins or because of their sins, so if we had followed the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if we were tzaddikim, we wouldn't have all these sarot. If we were righteous people and did everything right, so the brightness, the radiance of the Almighty, we could adjust to right away. We could adjust to this kind of change because we were good. But rather, but if we're in the time of not zachu, we're not really worthy, we're doing sins, so then you have to have the long process and the slowly reaching to where Mashiach comes. You have to have the pangs of Mashiach, you have the different sarot which lead up to Mashiach, and so forth and so on. We could not tolerate this change of spiritual light and radiance, would be too much for us, because our bodies are used to enjoying the materialism of this world. We're not used to the spiritual values. We're not used to living a life only of spirituality. Therefore the Gula has to come slowly. So it has to come slowly, because if it would come too quick, we couldn't tolerate the change that would happen so quick, because we're not really righteous people. Yes, comment.
I'm surprised that he doesn't make the connection with what he started, Magdil and Migdal.
Right.
Magdil, during the week, we go kima, we go left, because we wouldn't be able to take a lot of light suddenly.
Right.
And on Shabbos, we have Neshama Yesera.
Maybe that's what he means.
Right? And it could be Migdal, it could be...
it's a tower. Okay.
Yeah. He just doesn't connect the dots at the end.
Well, he's actually quoting the Medrash Shocher Tov. So he's quoting the Medrash Shocher Tov. I'm not quite sure how the Medrash Shocher Tov connects it. Magdil means to grow, to be gadol, mit gadelet. Right, that's slowly. And you're saying Migdal is already the Yeshua.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, but in other words,
take it. In Shabbos we can take it.
Right. So, once again, what I'm not sure, if we really went back and studied the difference between Migdal and Magdil.
I don't know why it is. I never knew why it was different.
I forget how it goes now. But it may have been just a mistake in trying to understand what the abbreviation was. The two psukim are very similar. and it may have been like a scribal note to say that it says mig.
No, but it's halacha how
His explanation is so much nicer.
it's halacha how to say it, how to
I know.
bench him in Shabbat.
I know. So you're right. It does,
And Yom Tov.
so then your explanation fits into what it would be, correct?
Right.
You're connecting dots. He's simply connecting the comparison between why is it Magdil and why is it Migdal. He's saying sometimes it could be a Migdal, but you've got to reach there. Then there's a Magdil, which is Mitgadela. At Mitgadela, it's slowly.
Yeah,
He doesn't make the connection to Mein Olam Haba of the Shabbos. You're right.
Because during the week we had to brochen and we couldn't take
We're
it.
going to put a footnote here. Then Heros, then Walter.
That's right.
Good, excellent. So it's a good point. V'chein amar v'Yishalmi Diyuman. It says in Yishalmi Yuman and Yishalmi Brachot, and this is the Lashon of the Yishalmi. Rabbi Chia Rabbav, Rabbi Shimon ben Chalafta in Mahalkin. It's a very famous Gemara. The Rabbi Chia and Rabbi Shimon ben Chalafta were walking Bahadada Bikat Arbel B'Kritzatza. They were walking in the valley of Arbel in the beginning of the dawn itself. Ra'u Ayelat HaShachar Shabaka Ora, and they saw the glimmering, the Ayelat HaShachar glimmering the light. So I'm Rabbi Chia Ruba and Rabbi Shimon ben Chalafta. So Rabbi Chia said to Rabbi Shimon ben Chalafta, Bar Rebbe, my master, son of rabbis, Kachi Gdulatam Shizo. This is how the Gula will be. But Chila Kima Kima. It'll be just like the light of the dawn is coming up. It's very slowly. As long as it begins to go, it gets brighter and brighter. A little bit like my timer. That I will be sitting in darkness, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a light to me. So the same thing, this is how Gula happens. And the Medrash continues, and this is part of the Medrash that people don't normally know about. If you look in the story of Esther, which is a story about natural Geula, natural redemption, first Mordechai is sitting in the gate of the king, and then only afterwards, only then does Mordechai does Haman take the king's garment and dresses Mordechai, and then Mordechai, then Mordechai goes back to where he was before. He's wearing the royal apparel. And then only later, the Mordechai finally goes out, and he's wearing the royal clothing. Then only the very end is their aura for the Jewish people. So the whole story of Megillat Esther, beginning from the beginning of Esther Beis, where Mordechai is sitting in the king's gate, all the way through the different parts of the permutations with Haman, it's only when you get to the very end, chapter 8, the very end of chapter 8, where you have the Laihudim Haisor V'Simcha. It's a slow process. It didn't happen overnight. There had to be difficulties. There had to be a Haman. There had to be a decree. And then at the very end, Mordechai is successful and the Jewish people celebrate. That's what happens with the story of Mashiach. That's what happens with the future Geulah. So it's a slow process. That's what he's trying to prove. So if you buy into the Megillah story, this makes sense to you. And if you buy into the story of Rav Chia and Rav Shimon Chalafta, then you understand why things work in a slow process. It's like the dawn lightening up the world. The same thing happens in the Medrash in the Shir Hashim. It says, "Al Akra," the pasuk in Shir Hashim, "Mizot hanishkafa k'mo shachar." Who is it looks down like the dawn? This is exactly how the redemption of the Jewish people will be mitzvah will be like floating up. First it comes slowly, and then continues to go. Similar kind of medrash. The Malach says, "Shalcheni ki Allah shachar." The fighting with the angel, the angel fighting with Yaakov says, "Send me, let me go, because the dawn has come up." Rabbi Yehuda Padach Famar, when Rabbi Yehuda commenting on this says, Mizot hanishkafa k'mo shachar yafa kalvana bara kachama yoma kinigdalot. What is this pasuk talking about? Who is the looks down upon us like the dawn and is beautiful like the moon, and kalavana and bara kachama, it's as clear as the sun, and as ayuma kinigdalos is awesome like an army of banners. Mikra ukma v'yitmar. This pasuk was explained as follows: Aval mizot hanishkafa Alin inun Yisrael bizman the kucha bricho yukam lon v'yafik lon migalusa. This is when HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks down on us. This is when He will take us out will elevate us and take us out from the Golos. Kedin yiftach lan pitcha denahor to kick zir. He will open for us a very small hole, the kick in the air. Or bata pitcha achrina. And then it will open a larger, another hole, the ihu rav mineh, which is larger than that. It's like a pinhole opening up and spiraling across, get bigger and bigger. Ache kuchibrichu yiftach lan tarin ilayin ptichin la'arba ruche alma. Until the Almighty will open a very large gate which will be open to the four corners of the world. So labarnash ditov v'chashucha v'dioru b'chashicha tadir. This can be commanded to a person who has been living in darkness, his building has been in darkness. Kadyuvan li'anhara lein be'ein bayan diftachali nahara zirta kena demachda. So when people want to first show him light, they first show him a pinhole of light, like an ayin, a hole of a needle. Ulabata rav mineh, and then they make it larger and larger. Kach inun Yisrael. So the Jewish people will go through the process of getting to the Gula. Kamadat Amar. It says, Ma'at Agasheno. As HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, when he talks about taking the Jewish people to Eretz Yisrael, to conquer, God says clearly, I'm not going to chase out the Canaani before you. I'm going to chase you out little by little. So the Almighty talks about the redemption of the Jewish people coming to Israel with Joshua. This is speaking with Moses, what will take place after Moses dies. He doesn't say, I'm not going to chase out all the Canaanim at once, because then the land will go haywire. So what am I going to do? I'm going to push them back a little by little as you come in. So that's the same thing for our Gula. Yisrael, Nahor Delon Ze'er, that the light of the Jewish people illuminates them a little by little, until the Almighty, until they get strength, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu shows them the light forever and ever. V'kulu shalav amru, and they will say, Mi zot hanishkafa kmo shachar. Who is this who shines his light upon them like the morning? Ihu kadrusa tzafra. That's the dawn refers to the darkness. V'zo v'da ihu nahor dekik. This is the light of the pinhole. Ulabata yafar levana. Then it'll be like the light of the moon. Begin the siara nahor dilei naher yater mishachar, which is brighter. Which is brighter than the darkness of the dawn itself. Ulabata barakachama. Then will be like the darkness of the light itself, clear like the sun. Begin the Nahar Takif and Ahir Yatim and the light will be stronger than the moon. And that'll be as awesome as an army with banners, which means Takif of Nahar Takif Kedaka Yos. Be strong like powerful and intense light. So this is all about saying the same thing. Tachazi, come and see, let's finish up this medrash. Tachazi, come and look. Ba'ot she'ech shach yamama v'tkasi Nahar v'asit safra. When the light is concealed, the morning begins to glimmer. The sky first gets illuminated little by little. Yinhar b'kadmoy it gets small, lit up a little bit. Adis Rabbi Nahora, until the light becomes big. Kidakal Yod, when it becomes its proper brightness. The who came in the Kuchi Brichu Yidar L'Nahar Leila Knes Yisrael. The same way HaKadosh Baruch Hu will arouse himself to enlighten the Jewish people. Yinhar b'kadmosak Moshachar. He will make it like the lightness or the brightness, which will be dark. Ulabata yafak levan, and afterwards will be like bright like the moon. Ulabata barakachama, like the sun. Ulabata yomakinid galot, like the army with the banners. Ad kan lashon azar hakadosh. This is what the Zohar says. So in other words, this is the same kind of theme, and he brings a number of other examples which talks about this, that things will come through in a slow process and to go one after the other until the process becomes brighter and brighter and brighter. Okay, I'm just trying to think if we should do all of this. Let's skip this next paragraph. We have klipaz. Okay. I'm just skipping the next paragraph. Klipaz is the second paragraph on 138. There's 3 Bali Kabbalah that he quotes here. And if you look here in the footnote in the English, he says he couldn't find these Svarim. He refers to 3 Svarim, Klipaz, Shtei Adot, and the editor, Rabbi Lichtman, could not identify what these were. Remember, he writes this with a lot of this memory, and he refers to Rabbeinu Bachye on a pasuk in Shaya. He does find Rabbeinu Bachye not exactly as he quoted him. V'yatzat malach v'yishalem shlo yehu itbarach amad that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not going to be the one to initiate the redemption, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to be the one to yishalem the Eitzah, the counsel of his messengers. He will complete. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be the one who finishes what what was started. We have to start the Gula. Kim Yisrael b'shuva la'aretz. We have to be the one to start the Gula. This is once again part of what he talks about primarily as the important part of what we have to do. We can't wait for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have to do it, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will complete it. How do we do it? We'll come back to the land of Israel. As huyit barach yishalem, God gashlim, He will finish it off. V'zeh shomar katuv v'yatzat malachav. And when it says that His messengers, the council of His messengers, He doesn't mean real malachim. Heim sibot hativim shemalachav. This refers to natural order, which are the messengers of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. K'mo shekatav ha'amonat ma'ar, Manat Ma writes on Drasha V'Shvut, as hu yashlim pulatam, He will finish off the natural processes. Keinu dad shlosha balei mekubalim halal. So this is what the three mekubalim, of which the editor only found one, Rabbeinu Bachaye, though I'm sure the other two are real things. We just don't have the svarim. Hinei debiaru lon v'chachamim hamitim b'mkomot hanal. What do we see from this? This now he concludes from this. What do we learn from this? Shelo kamo rabim b'nei amenu medamim v'oleh alibam. Not what many people think in our generation, which is of course what the Munkach Rav and others were thinking. Shemashiach yavol Yisrael pitom. That suddenly Mashiach will show up. Kinahar shotef mi'afela le'or gadol b'pam achat. That suddenly will go from darkness to brightness in one moment. In one instant, the going up, the going higher will only happen slowly, from step to step that's higher than that. And once they get used to the next step higher, one step, like dawn happens slowly, like light happens slowly, like the natural process. We go one step at a time until we come to the final, to the highest level, until we've gotten used to going up this ladder. This is the ladder that Jacob is going, referring to the ladder in Beit El, so to speak, one level at a time. Because if we go from the bottom rung to the top rung of the ladder instantaneously on one step, besides the fact that it's impossible, you can't jump the whole ladder, you couldn't go from this kind of drastic change. Like a person suddenly goes on a starvation diet, a person decides to, go on an exercise regimen that he can't tolerate because it's too rapid, too quick. So a person who was weak and couldn't eat, and now suddenly he's now cured, he can't suddenly go back to having all the schmaltzy, greasy, sugary foods that without have bad effects. Like a person lives in a dark house, and pitom if you couldn't, suddenly the lights come on, you kind of close your eyes, you can't tolerate it. The same thing with Yisham and Nizar, the one we saw about going in the Bekat Arbel. Same thing for the Jewish people's redemption. Will happen slowly in step after step. So this is the process we're living in. And the reason for this is, like the Medrash says in Shmot, Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu, if I look at the people, the deeds of the Jewish people, they will never be redeemed forever. What do I look upon? I look upon what their ancestors did, and this is what the Vilna Gaon writes in Sefer Even Shlomo. It's not Gula will not happen with tshuva only, but even with the merit of our ancestors, we will able to be saved, as it says in the Shemona Esrei. This is from the Shemona Esrei. You recognize it. God remembers the kindness of the ancestors, bring a geula, bring a redemption to their children's children. Seeing we're not going to be truthful and worthy of this by our own deeds, we can't expect to have a miracle where suddenly Mashiach comes in Nes Nigla. It has to be in a very hidden, kind of slow way. Therefore it can't happen in one moment. So in other words, what he's saying is we're not worthy. Why will we be redeemed? Because of the ancestors' merits of the Avot. And that's the case. We're only going to get a level by level by level. A, we don't deserve it, and B, we couldn't tolerate a drastic change. Okay, let's do one more paragraph for Nirali, and therefore it seems to me, the Mishum Zekinu Banavim Mashiach Zekinu B'Shem Tzemach. And it seems to me that's why the prophets call the Mashiach Tzemach. They call him Tzemach. It's Tzemach David Avdecha Tatzmiach. This talks not about David HaMelech, but the Tzemach is the Mashiach of Beit David, Kirechtiv, as it says in Zechariah. This is from the Haftorah of Chanukah, I believe. Hineni mevi et avdi tzemach. I will bring my servant Tzemach, the one who will be Tzomeach. What Tzemach mean? Shoot, not shoot, bang. Shoot like a shoot that grows up. The shoot that grows out of the ground. Or it says similarly, Ish Tzemach Shmo umitachtav yitzmach. He will be called Tzemach, and he will grow out of the ground. Mitachtav, from underneath he will sprout out. Or it says Vakimoti leDavid Tzemach Tzedek, and I will raise a righteous Tzemach to David, from David, which will be the Mashiach. All of these examples from Zechariah and from Yirmiyahu are calling Mashiach Tzemach. We say in the Shemona Esrei, it's Tzemach David Avdecha Meir Tatzmiach. The Tzemach David, the sprout of David, are your servant. He will quickly sprout up. You should know it's a request. Make him quickly sprout up, and it's still sprouting. So why is Mashiach called Tzemach? V'hu al derech shekatav hagaon b'Sefer Ezrat Kohanim. This is what the author of the Sefer Ezrat Kohanim writes in Sefer Ezrat Kohanim. It's a parish on the Mishnayot. B'Shem Hashiltei Giborim. The Alkein Nikraz Zerubbabel Tzemach, the Zerubbabel, which is the first leader of the Jewish people when they come back under the tutelage of Ezra, he's called Tzemach. And the Navi is talking about the return to the Jewish people with the leader of Tzemach. The leadership under Zerubbabel was a very slow leadership. They didn't get a lot of things going, but it happened slowly. It's slowly, like a sprout comes out of the ground. So it will happen slowly until it goes bigger. The same way Zerubbabel was called Tzemach, as the leaders, Alkein Mashiach Nikva Gam Ken Tzemach. So the Mashiach will also be called Tzemach. Shekein Yalem Malato Malat Yisol Miat Me'adat Sheikdam Yod K'mot Tzemach Adar. It's going to grow slowly, like a sprout comes out slowly out of the ground. Like think about the spring when you first look down, you see the beginning of flowers coming up.
I wonder if the word has any relation to Semite. The word for
no, that's
seed,
from shame.
But the word for seed in
Spanish
is semilla, which is
might be the same root. Yeah, might be the same root. Okay. Yeah, could be.
Interesting.
A lot of common words, common roots. Clearly, yes. So Tzemach means when it first sprouts up, and those first comes up, like what I said, when the snow melts and you see the first buds coming up out of the ground, you know there's going to be your petunias, there's going to be your, crocuses, whatever's coming up early, these tulips or whatever other flowers you're growing. As Memela Muchach Mikol Zed, Yishotenu Latit Atzmech B'derech HaTeva, 97 on the large paragraph, okay? So therefore the growth, the coming of Mashiach will be with Derech HaTeva, like a Tzemach that grows naturally, Ritzoni Lomar B'neish Samlu Bash Teva, like a normal nace that happens in natural fashion. You need a growth process. The same way that the tzemach grows on the ground, the sprout grows on the ground before it pops through. So same thing, that's the type of year we're living in now. And from the Ivis, this is why we have the tzarot now. It's a natural fashion. It's a hidden era. We don't see the power of the Almighty. We're not zocher, we're not worthy. God doesn't show it. He brought it from the Talmud in Tzmura, the Amr Gavet Beah. The key, it says, the Gemara in Masechet Tzmura says, like an egg, the key komasrach kogavel, that the chick grows as much as the egg breaks down. In other words, what do you have in an egg? If you take an egg that's before it actually grows or it's not fertilized, you have the yolk. As the yolk begins to break down and deteriorate, the chick grows until finally, when the yolk is completely gone, what happens? The chick has to pop out. So the egg becomes unedible. It's really unedible if there is a chick in there altogether, right? That's why we check for blood spots. But the egg becomes unedible as long as the chick is growing. So the chick is really growing on that which is breaking down. It's a kind of funny analogy. You never think of it that way. So the chick, which of course is the future life, the next generation, is basing its existence and development while it's hidden into a process of something that's actually deteriorating, which is of course the yolk, which is nourishing it. So our coming of gula is like the coming of the egg that comes naturally. So the gula that we're going to have is going to be like the teva that happens in all the mitziot. Everything I've given to you is the real introduction. Etc., who are big bali tabal, who understood everything. And therefore, what I've now explained to you, maybe we'll just do a little bit of the next paragraph. Now you understand that I explained to you that it's going to be slowly. Now you'll understand where the drashot of the Chatam Sofer, which was just published, it looks like. And he says, or I'm about to tell you, Rambam Sanhedrin, the Jewish people will all come to Israel before Mashiach comes. Is the Chatam Sofer, the same Chatam Sofer who says that Chadash is Aser, you can't make change. He says the future will be, and he writes in his parish Mishnais and Sanhedrin, that the Jewish people come first to Israel before Mashiach comes. Before the Mikdash is even created and even set up. And I found another sefer which is by the grandson of the Rosh, that before Mashiach comes, they'll come to Israel first. This is what he's trying to say. The process is we got to go to Israel first. And when they all come to Israel, all these Jews, they're going to daven on the Temple Mount, Barak Kodesh, and God will hear them. Ayin Sham, which of course hasn't happened yet. Vagaon Hatzadik Rabbeinu Rabbi Hillel mi Kalamaya, B'Shuvat Beit Hillel writes, he says, Vaydeze et lahev libo sham me'od b'chtav al gaon Rav Zalman Spitzer mivin. This god of Rav Hillel of Kalamona who referred to this medrash, which says the Jewish people will come first before Mashiach comes. And he wrote a letter to Rav Zalman of Spitzer, which to urge him, she had a Baron Rothschild, to speak to Baron Rothschild, Shiachnis Atzmo Bazes, to get involved in this, with Mochzo B'Kaspo V'Zavo, to put a lot of financial assets to support those who come to Israel and get people to make Aliyah. For this we need the Ashirim, the people with the money, to help fund the process of Aliyah. Kasher Huva Maisa Kazub Medrash Rabbah Toldo, should be made by Rabbi Shimon ben Chananya, Natana Melech Meshut Lalot Eretz Not Beit Mikdash. The same way days Rabbi Shimon ben Chananya, the king gave permission for the Jews to go build Mikdash. As Hoshiv Rabbi Shimon ben Chananya Shnei Shirim Gdolim Yisrael Sheyitnu Hartzot Tzot Azed. Rabbi Shimon ben Chananya set up two rich people to help it. There was this, I'm not sure if he's referring to the situation where Julian the Apostate, who gave permission for the Jewish people to go build the temple. He died, and that was the end of that. This is the one emperor who was not Christian. Who would not want to be part of this? So in other words, the whole point of it being that you need the Ashirim to help us, but you see that this was a letter written to help encourage Baron Rothschild to give money and assets, because based upon these Midrashim, you see, before Mashiach comes, what has to happen? People need to go to Eretz Yisrael. And that becomes the next part of what he's going to talk about, that you got to get there before Mashiach comes, which is really what he calls the same over in Smecha. We'll stop here.
Very good.
Okay.